You want to play Fire Mage in Midnight, but your runs look like this?
Yeah, covers both. No, doesn't cover both. Unlucky.
Wasn't necessary.
I'm fucking stupid, man.
Let's fix that. Hey guys, my name is Heated. I'm a really experienced mage player in Mythic Plus, and today's Plus topic, Fire Mage. In this guide, I'm gonna start with the basics and get more complex the longer the video goes on. So if you already know the basics, feel free to use the chapters below to skip to the topic that you are interested in. First, let's talk basics. Fire Mage is a cooldown dependent spec. Your main cooldown is gonna be Combustion. It's a 1 minute cooldown and it makes your spells crit 100% for 12 seconds. Another important thing to know is Hot Streak. Once you get 2 crits in a row, your next Pyroblast or Flame Strike is an instant cast with 100% additional ignite damage. Here you can see how that works. On your first crit, you will get a buff that is called Heating Up. You can also see this with the red outlines around your character. Once you get a second crit in a row, you will then receive the buff Hot Streak, and this enables you to instantly cast a Pyroblast or a Flame Strike. Pyroblast is your main single target finisher. Flame Strike is your main AoE finisher that you use when you're in AoE situations. Sims currently say anything above 4 targets. The last thing I want to talk about here is Ignite. Ignite makes your target burn over 9 seconds from damage caused by Fireball, Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Meteor, and Flame Strike. So basically all the abilities that you use. You can see here, for me this says 14.7%. This scales with your stat mastery. With Fire Blast, you can then spread that Ignite to other targets. Chapter 2, Mage Talents. If you are new and starting out with Fire Mage, I would recommend that you read through all the abilities at least once, so you understand what they do. Here I go through the main choices and why we picked them. On the general Mage tree, you have the ability to choose between Time Walk and Temporal Realignment. Temporal Realignment is similar to Cheat Death, not quite the same, but basically it triggers your auto time when you drop below 25% health, and it returns you to 50% of your maximum health. I would highly recommend getting used to Time Walk though from the start, because all the time is usually used on cooldown by yourself anyway, and getting extra blinks and shimmers is just amazing in a Mythic Plus scenario where you have to dodge a lot of things. Here you have Shimmer versus Blink. Shimmer usually is the default choice, just because it enables you to cast while blinking. Dragon's Breath versus Supernova is a controversial one. In general, I think Supernova is better, because for Dragon's Breath you need to be in melee range to use it to stop mobs from casting or using their abilities. While with Supernova you can do the same thing and stay in range. Down here we always choose Spatial Manipulation. Getting another charge of Shimmer is just really strong and enables you to always keep casting. For the hero talent tree in Midnight we are using Sun Fury. While Frostfire might seem fun, it unfortunately doesn't perform as well as Sun Fury, so if you are serious about pushing Mythic Plus as Fire Mage, you should go with Sun Fury. On the left I would always take Time Twist. This reduces your alter time cooldown. Currently, mage defensives are in a bad state, so having CD reduction on your alter time is really helpful. Here I would always take Savor the Moment. Getting a longer combustion is just really good. On the fire tree you can choose between Flame Strike that is casted at the target's location or Flame Strike that is casted at a selected location. In many situations the targeted Flame Strike is good enough. Finally down here you want to choose Burn It All. It just performs better overall. Let's talk about some more talent tree basics. Here you can see Combustion actually has to be talented in, but since this is what makes our spec good, you will always put a point in here, otherwise fire would be unplayable. Scorch is amazing to generate heating up and hot streaks while the target is below 30%. Controlled Destruction makes you do more damage to the target the longer the fight goes. Firestarter is one of the best talents we have. It makes your Fireball and Pyroblast crit 100% of the time, while the target has more than 90% of HP. Especially in Mythic Plus, where you keep chaining mobs and they always have full HP when you pull them, this enables you to get a lot of value and you should always use this talent. Meteor has a 45-second cooldown, but you always use this together with Combustion. Master of Flames makes your Ignite spread even stronger, so I would always recommend taking this talent. Burnout makes your Ignite explode whenever your Combustion ends. This is just a really strong talent overall. Heat Shimmer is an interesting talent. While you're not in Combustion, you have a chance that your next Scorch, as we learned Scorch usually only is good when the target is below 30%, acts as if the target is below 30%. So you get a guaranteed crit, amazing talent to generate some heating up and hot streak outside of Combustion. This is especially valuable in single target. Since we are basically only casting Fire Blast in Combustion, Feel the Burn is amazing because you get extra mastery. And as we know, mastery means that you get more ignite damage, more ignite spread, just a really strong talent overall. Now let's get to talent choices. I will copy the tree that I use currently in Mythic Plus below in the description. On the left talent tree, you only have the option to take away 2 points from Improved Conjuration. and you can put them in whatever you feel like is the best. I usually take Incantation of Swiftness because I feel like in many dungeons I'm lacking behind my team. I don't want to use my altar time to reset Blink. So since Invis got nerfed this expansion and it's really not that useful anymore, I use it a lot as a speed buff to catch up to my team. On the right tree, you can take away the point from Heat Shimmer. Now you have multiple options. Currently, I run Conflagration in my build. Another strong option is Molten Fury, or you can just stay with Heat Shimmer. Part 3. Stats, trinkets and crafted items. Your main stats as Fire Mage are haste and mastery. What is best for your character depends on simulations that you should run. If you want to learn how to sim your character, I will link the Mage Discord below. They have an amazing guide for that. So just join the Discord. You find a lot of valuable information in there and also a guide on how to sim your character. For trinkets, one of the best options that you can get from Mythic Plus is Emberwing Feather and Heart of Wind. Both of them give you more haste, one passively, one active. Amazing combination as fire, since haste is your main secondary stat. The other good option to replace Heart of the Wind would be Gaze of the Aesir. This is probably one of the strongest trinkets this expansion. Especially in longer fight scenarios, this trinket outperforms my Heart of the Wind every time, so it is definitely worth to try and get your hands on it. For crafted items, you want to use back, wrist or waist, and you want to make sure that you at least have 2 crafted items with the Arcane Weave embellishment. As you can see on my character, I currently have the back and the waist. 4. Let's talk rotation. Before we go into the rotations, we have to talk some principles. First, while the target is above 90% HP, you don't want to combust. Why is that? You want to make sure that you generate as much value as you can from your talent Firestarter. Especially in dungeon scenarios and for Bloodlust pulls, this is not as important because the mobs drop below 90% basically immediately. For bosses though, or pulls where your group doesn't have cooldowns, this is mandatory to maximize your DPS. Second, outside of combustion, your goal is to generate as many hot streaks as you can. You do this by getting a crit, for example with Fireball, and then converting the heating up with Fire Blast into a hot streak, which you then use on Flame Strike or Pyroblast. Third, try not to cap your Fire Blasts. Fire Blast is one of your main ways to generate hot streaks, so if you are capping Fire Blast charges, you basically are limiting the damage you can do. Next up, I'm gonna show you a single target opener. Unfortunately, while recording, I noted that my ability tracker above details doesn't recognize the Pyroblasts in combustion. I will guide you through the rotation now, so enjoy. Because the opener is so fast, I want to add some graphics here to explain you better what you are about to see. So while the target is above 90%, we cast Fireball. We then convert that with Fire Blast into a hot streak proc. We use that for Pyroblast. This gives us another heating up that we then can convert to hot streak again with a Fire Blast, which we then can use again to spend on a Pyroblast and so on. One more thing to note, if you have a hot streak and instead of just sending the Pyroblast, you cast a Fireball or Scorch or whatever will crit before, this enables you then to send 2 Pyroblasts back to back. This is what you're gonna see in the sequence as well. Once the target is about to drop below 90%, we generate a heating up, then press Scorch, Combustion, 1 Fire Blast, and then from there on out we just spam Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Fire Blast. You can either press Meteor before going into combustion, you can also press it during combustion. The only important thing that matters is that it lands inside your combustion window. After your combustion ends, you get a buff that's called Hyperthermia. This enables you to spam Pyroblasts or Flame Strikes for a few seconds. After combustion, we just continue to generate hot streaks. In this example that you're about to see, the target is already below 30%, which means from there on out we're gonna use Scorch instead of Fireball to generate heating up, which we then convert to hot streaks with Fire Blast. Next up, I'm gonna show you how to combust in AoE situations. The main difference is that in AoE it is important to press Meteor before you go into combustion, but the rest stays exactly the same. You just press Flame Strike instead of Pyroblast. One more note for the combustion part: if you ever run out of Fire Blast inside combustion, use your Scourge as a filler. Next up, let's talk defensives. In Midnight, unfortunately Blizzard decided to gut our defensive toolset, so we are left with Ice Cold, Blazing Barrier and Alter Time. This topic is so big and needs so much experience that I won't be able to include all the information in one video. So if you want to see more information on that, let me know in the comments below so I can make a new video. Alter Time is what makes you a good mage. This requires you to have extensive dungeon knowledge and to know what damage will be incoming. Then you can alter before the damage is incoming and revert all the damage you took to 0. I'm gonna show you a few clips of my dungeon gameplay right now so you can see how good Alter Time can be.
Playing 10 hours a day just absolutely killed me. Yeah, same every season. Okay, we alter back in 1 second. Bam, alter back now.
Blazing Barrier is an absorb shield. You want to make sure you have that up at all time. It has a 30-second cooldown. The only exception is if there are mobs or boss mechanics that one-shot you, then you don't want to use it on cooldown, but you want to use it to survive the one-shot. I'm also gonna show you an example for that right now.
Is barrier enough? I think so. That's...
Yeah, it should be,
People don't like proccing cheat deaths, but to be honest, I would count this as a last line of defensive that keeps you from dying. Also, one more important thing: because we are already lacking so many defensives, it is always important to carry health pots and to use them whenever you feel like you're about to die. Last but not least, Ice Cold, just a damage reduction on 2.5 minute cooldown. Use that whenever you feel like you're about to die. Advanced mage topics. Another reason why you want to make use of Firestarter, like we discussed before, is Fired Up. This is your Apex talent and it increases your fire damage by 4% for 12 seconds. You can also stack this effect. You get Fired Up stacks by consuming Hot Streak. Whenever consuming Hot Streak, you have a 20% chance to get 1 stack. Per stack, your fire damage is increased by 4% for 12 seconds. If you manage to get 1, 2 or even 3 of these stacks before you go into combustion, this then enables you to even do more damage inside your combustion window. Important note for when to combust. You don't want to combust while mobs are moving. The reason for that is mainly ignite spread, but also your meteor should land on all targets if possible. So make sure that the tank stacks up the mobs, and after the mobs are stacked up, that's when you want to go into combustion. For the racials, my suggestion is you either pick Night Elf or Dwarf. I feel like Dwarf in general is easier to use. You can get rid of bleeds or poison effects. This is really strong this season. My personal favorite though is Night Elf. With Melt, you can skip different boss and trash mechanics. I really love it, my personal favorite. Flame striking on target versus flame striking at selected location. In certain scenarios, it would be better if you use Flame Strike at a selected location. This is, for example, if the main target of the pull is jumping out of the group or maybe stays back casting while the tank pulls them up somewhere else. In these cases, you will not hit all targets with your Flame Strike. So I highly suggest, if you get more and more experienced and more comfortable, that you eventually switch to Flame Strike at selected location. When to single target combust versus when to Flame Strike. For the optimal overall numbers, you want to Flame Strike in your combustion when there are 4 or more targets. If you are playing for speed in the dungeon though, you should always analyze the situation you're in every time. If there are 10 mobs but 9 mobs have 1 million HP, while there's one big target with 10 million HP, then sure, you would get bigger numbers by Flame Striking, but you're making the dungeon actively slower. If the mobs are not dangerous and have to die, you should always single target combust to make the key go faster. This is also why if you ever analyze any logs from M+, I wouldn't really recommend looking at the overall pass that you did. The pass depends on a lot of things. Do you have other classes in your group that have a lot of AoE damage? How did the pulls look like? A lot of things that influence this, So the thing that really matters and what you should always play for is speed in the key, which means keep single target combusting if you think this makes you go faster. I also asked the Mage Discord what the impact of this is. On average, you will lose around 10% on AoE if you single target combust, but you gain around 30% damage on your priority target. Have you ever wondered why fire mages jump during combustion? This is to avoid hardcasting Pyroblast or Flame Strike. Since you spam so many buttons, it can easily happen that you start casting it even if you didn't want to. This guide can't cover everything that you need to know to perfect your fire mage gameplay. On top of all the information that we just shared, you also need to have a decent UI, you need to learn routes, you need to learn all the mobs. And one of the hardest challenges probably for you will be to get invited into groups. Fire Mage currently is one of the lower performing specs, so you will probably find a lot of ignorance and you will be declined a lot when applying to groups. What matters for me the most though is that you play what you enjoy. For me, Fire Mage is so fun that I decided that I want to play it. Now I'm gonna share with you one macro that helps me a lot to simplify things. I am talking about my Meteor macro. Did you know that you can bind your trinket to Meteor? This simplifies the opening rotation a lot because you don't have to press an extra button. Your trinket gets used whenever you use Meteor. Now you're probably thinking, but in single target, you did use your Meteor so late into combustion. Isn't it bad to use a trinket that late? You are correct. That's why I additionally bound my trinket to the button R, so I can use it manually on top. But as we have seen in AoE situations, you use Meteor right before your combustion, so there you can simplify things and then you can just focus on blasting the mobs. I hope that you enjoyed this short guide. If you feel like I haven't covered something, let me know in the comments below, or feel free to join my Discord. I'm gonna link it in the description below. In that Discord, you can also find a questions channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.